Okay. For those of you who've been here before, which should be nearly all of you, you already know that we do this thing at the beginning with our hands and our heads. But it's really important to do it with your heart. Yeah, the next 2 hours, again, I know I say it over and over, and the mind has a tendency to ignore the stuff it hears over and over, makes it a habit. But you can truly do something special in the next 2 hours for your own mind stream, for your own heart. If you just get the right motivation of why are you here, what are you going to listen to, and how open are you to really stopping the shitty things in your life. Yeah? The aggravations that come at us day after day. Yeah. If you really think about that, what if it was possible to do one or two things that will shift the angle of your level of happiness just that tiny bit, and then you give that room to grow for a week, 2 weeks, a month. I mean, the level of happiness that you could have before you die could be this much as opposed to now. So please make the next 2 hours special for you. I'm going to do my blah blah the best I can. But that's only half the equation. So the first thing we do is we try and generate this sense of disconnect from the turmoil of every day. If you can imagine all the stuff that you were holding on to, all the thoughts and concerns and anger and frustration and the hopes and all that stuff that you think about all the time you think about it. Usually it's the same stuff. I'm fat. He's skinny. Just leave it out the door. Yeah, if you can leave it out this door, good. If you can leave it out the front door and let other people bump into that bubble, even better. Yeah, imagine this. As they bump into that bubble, their crap goes into that bubble. And they feel a little happier. But really, imagine something physical in your head, because the next 2 hours could really shift something for you. I mean, I wish I could do it, but I can't. You know, you can. So let's start with some blah blah. The idea here is try and imagine what it would be like if there was not a single scrap of unhappiness and suffering around. If there was the opposite. Imagine your best happiness and multiply it by a zillion. And then just imagine that you're offering that world, that paradise, to every being around.
Sashi Bukir Jishin Metotram Riraling Shin Yindegin Pali Sangye Shindu Mitveruwargi Rokunanda Shinga Chuparsho Yam Guru Ratnamandala Kamirayami Sangye Chidan Soki Chognanda Chanchu Bardu Ratmi Yapsuji Dati Jinye Gibe Sonanki Yola Benchir Sangye Druparsho Sangye Chidan Soki Chognanda Chanchu Bardu Dati Yapsuji Dati Jinye Gibe Sonanki Yola Benchir Sangye Druparsho Sangye Chidan Soki Chognanda Chanchu Bardu Dati Yapsuji Dati Jinye Gibe Sonanki Yola Chir Sangye Drupasho.
So we're just going to do a little bit of meditation to get our minds from reverse to neutral so we could go forward. So make sure you're in a comfortable seated position so you don't have to be concerned about the shape or structure or feeling of your body for a little while. We're going to concentrate on the breath at the tip of our nostrils and count the breaths as you feel the sensation of the air going out, being and, coming in, being one, going out, being and, coming in, being two. And just focus on the sensation of the air passing the tip of your nose at your nostrils. If your mind gets distracted with other thoughts that should be downstairs, come back and start at one. We'll do a little bit of this. Double your efforts and relax into it, really imagining your consciousness at the breath and only at the breath. Do that for a little bit. Now invite the most perfect being, the most advanced being you can imagine, to come and sit in front of you. Bow down to them and offer them something precious. This is the most evolved being you can imagine, of body, mind and speech. They're free of all suffering. They understand the nature of things, and they can teach you. Offer them something of beauty, and see them accept it and smile at you. Build a sense of closeness with them. You're intricately tied. Now think of some negativity you thought or said or did today, something that you know would have caused somebody some hurt or some disappointment, and build a genuine sense of regret for having hurt another, but also for knowing that whatever you've caused them is what you'll be forced to experience in the future, and you won't know why. In fact, this is why. And tell this being in front of you, try and generate that sense of regret. Make a strong resolve to not do that wrong action in the future. Instead to do some goodness. Be specific about the event. Now think of some goodness you did today, some happiness you generated, some right way of looking at the world. Get a sense of joy in your heart, some goodness you've done. Share this with this being in front of you and watch them smile and share your joy. Don't be afraid to feel happy. Feel strongly happy. Know that this will also follow you close behind like your shadow. Just like you imagine, there have been many deeds like that today throughout the world where people are doing goodnesses with each other, helping each other, caring for each other. And feel that sense of joy for those people making that happen, stopping hurts, making sadnesses into happinesses, giving the lonely some company, helping the afflicted. Imagine all these hurts stopping around the world because people like you are generating some goodness, and feel good about it. Enjoy that feeling for them. Now ask this being in front of you to please teach you the things you're yet to find out about the world. Things that will get you to a state of permanent happiness. Ask them to teach you in every instance, in all the hurts and all the happinesses that come your way, may they just be lessons. Ask them to be close to you. Imagine them in the future helping you. Whenever the hurts and the goodnesses come, they agree to do that. They are linked to you. They agree. Feel safe in that. And then ask them please to stay for a long time until you've managed to see reality the way it truly is. That you might be able to help other people stop their sufferings. Ask them to please stay until you hurt no more. Watch them agree, feel connected, and watch them rise and turn and sit at the space above the crown of your head, shrinking down until they're a precious emanation of light like your crown, smaller and smaller, just sitting above your head. Feel their presence there. Feel the effects on your body and mind for them being there. And imagine that they stay. You can open your eyes when you're ready. Welcome back. Thanks for coming. So, for those of you who've been here before, I'm going to do the same old review. Remember your expectations, why you're here, what's your motivation. Really find it, define it. The clearer you are about that, the more you're going to walk out of here with something meaningful for you. Try and hold that really clearly as we talk about the wheel of life. And then what's your 50%? You know, you could sit here and have some barriers to the information. I mean, and I've told you about my first experience with Buddhism, with Geshe Michael going blah 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 at the front, and he was wearing a dress, and that's all I was thinking, what gives you the right? You're just wearing a dress, and I was just so resistant to hearing anything. If I'd known how much it would change my life, I wouldn't be teaching. I'd be off somewhere in one of those tangas. Yeah. But no, I wasted time, damn it. So, what's your 50%? What's your mindset? What are you doing? How are you going to use this? Are you just going to sit in a room and listen to stuff? Or use it for something? Pick your stuff and use it for something. So what are you going to take away? How are you going to turn this stuff into action? Action that makes sense to you. The awesome thing about Buddhism is that it just gives you a map. The incredible thing about the Wheel of Life is that it's an amazing blueprint about everything in Buddhism. So you've got not just the corners of the map, you've got the entire universe in there. How to transform your mind. So pick a corner and see how you work it in your terrain, because you're the traveler on it. And there's something special about making it your personal ritual, I wasted so many years thinking I've got to do this thing right, and this thing right, and this thing right, and sure, it sharpened my motivation, but the stuff you do with the way you say things, the way you write things, the motivation of you, the thoughts you're having as you do any action that turn this stuff into your reality. So that's what I mean by personal ritual. Now in the culture of Tibet, it's ended up looking like that, an amazing altar, and everything there has a meaning, and when people are doing this, it has a meaning. Is there a God inside that metal thing called Buddha? Is there someone in there going, I'm going to help you because your knees touch the ground and your head touch the ground? Is that what's happening? From that side out? No. It's a metal thing. Yeah? Like the pen. So it's become this ritualistic thing that is laden with meaning, with little bombs of experience for people that do that stuff, because they've been habituating doing that stuff for centuries. That for them, it does feel like there is something that way. And it can be that way. But is there something really from that side? If you heard about the pen thing, the answer is no. So ritual makes you, as you do an action, as you do a thought, makes you weave this stuff into your DNA, your personal DNA. So do some crazy silly ritual on your own. If it's jumping into the front door of the 3 jewels on your left foot when you come in and that triggers something in your mind, then make that your own personal thing. I don't know. It's got to be yours. Yeah. But you can take guidance for these amazing and beautiful rituals that have been developed in Tibet and India and Mongolia and the West. The more you do that, the more you weave it into your DNA, and then it becomes second nature. You don't know that you know. You're unconsciously competent about it, rather than having to be forcing yourself to think about things the right way. The same about emptiness. So we're talking about the Wheel of Life, Baba Chakra, Sipako. Let's get the review, which will be half the class happening now. So someone please volunteer. Volunteer thinking is really good, by the way. How the Wheel of Life came about. Anyone? Going once, going twice.
The present giving war between
Not Sam. G? Did I scare you? How did it come about? Do you remember? Did I scare you? I shouldn't scare you. Do you remember the 2 kings? Yeah? Don't be afraid to not know, by the way. This is the point of coming to a class. You learn, right? They're exchanging gift, 2 kings, and then ultimately...
I don't remember names, but...
Doesn't matter.
One of them just gave the king an armor.
Yeah?
And
Yeah? One king gave another king an armor. Does anyone remember the king that gave the armor? King Udrayana gave it to King Bipasara. Yeah, gave amazing, crazy armor. Good on you. And then what happened?
Then the other king was trying to give him back, which was more precious.
Yeah.
And he didn't know what to give, and asked someone.
Yeah.
And then that person said, you should go and talk to Buddha.
Yeah, so the sage said, go talk to Buddha. Yeah? Because I don't know what's more precious than the priceless thing on earth. Yeah? Anyone else want to follow? Thank you, Chief. Then what happened? You got to speak up because I can't hear you.
Buddha said to take a picture of him. So he got some guys together.
Yeah.
And then he took a picture of him and then he came over.
Excellent.
So he returned it. He gave it to he went over to present his gift. The other king, which I can pronounce the name, started with an A.
Yeah.
He seen it, he thought it was a war or something going on.
Yeah.
But it wasn't. When he got there and seen it coming with the story, he gave it to him and he said, not what it was. He had like
Awesome. Perfect. Yeah, King Udrayana had an aha moment when he unrolled the scroll and saw this image. He'd never seen a Buddha before, but everyone else had. Remember all the publicans, all the plebs went, oh my God, it's the most amazing thing. And King Udrayana's like, what's this? What's a Buddha? And he thought and he watched and he saw this overnight until something happened and he had an experience of dependent origination, and then that forced him to sit down and he saw emptiness directly. Yeah, it was a letter bomb. It was this map burst a seed in the mind of this king who was ripe, who had the right stuff in his head, and let him see the spectrum. Remember the spectrum? Yeah. Good on you. Okay, so for those of you who know that the 4 Arial truths or 4 noble truths are hidden in the painting, this is not the right slide for it. Let's go back. Oops, Hector doesn't know what he's doing. Ah!
Too many slides.
Too many bloody slides, corporate silly person. Okay, 4 Arial truths in the painting. Anyone want to volunteer? Suffering is what? What in this painting is suffering? There's 2 main sections that are suffering.
I think one is that optional suffering or
Don't describe the suffering. Tell me the images in the painting that are the suffering. Anyone? Doesn't matter, anyone.
The realms.
The realms. Who said that? Hello. Your lips didn't move high. You went 6 realms. I was surprised. Perfect. Yeah, 6 realms. So the thing from that edge in, yeah, there's 6 realms. What else is suffering? The suffering that all the beings in all those realms experience. Mr. Death, yeah, the red thing. He's got us by the cycle. Yeah? He does. He's gripped the cycle of the 6 realms. Every being in those realms, the ones we can see and the ones we cannot see, from amoebas to cockroaches to human beings to dogs and cats and whales and the healthiest human beings and the wealthiest human beings and the poorest human beings and the youngest human beings and the oldest human beings are meeting Mr. Death at some point. And they're also controlled by this dude and the conditions in the wheel. So that's suffering. The monster outside the thing and the 6 realms represent suffering. That's the first Arial truth. What's the second Arial truth? So first is noble truth. Life is suffering, yeah? Second is?
There's a cause to suffering.
There's a cause to suffering. So what in this wheel, in this painting, is the cause or causes of suffering? Sorry?
The 3 poisons.
Excellent. The 3 poisons. The very center of the hub is the engine that keeps this bloody thing going for all of us. And what else? The ring. The ring. The 12 links of dependent origination around it. Yeah, those massive cycles, lifetime cycles, and daily mini cycles and minute by minute cycles are the things that secure us in his grip. Understanding those can free us. Yeah? So life is suffering, there's a cause to suffering. We figured out in the painting where they are. What's the next one?
Cessation.
You can stop the suffering, right? There is a stopping to suffering. What in the painting is that?
The Buddha.
The moon.
The moon.
Yeah. Why is the moon?
Represents
Excellent. Represents the end of all mental afflictions. It's actually nirvana. It wasn't a moon in the original sutra. In the original painting, it was just a white circle, pure white. Yeah? And then, that's a fourth aerial truth or not?
There's a path.
There's a path to the cessation. Yeah? So, I mean, let's summarize it. Life is crap. It's not crap for no reason. There's a reason for it being crap. There's a reason for things turning to crap, and we don't know it. That's why we're caught in it. Yeah? What's the next one?
There's a cessation.
You can stop the crap. You can get to a point where you stop all mental affliction. It's called nirvana or Buddhahood. Yeah, in this painting it's nirvana. It's the cycle, it's a moon. And it doesn't just pop out of thin air. You've got to do some stuff.
There's a path.
There's a path to the cessation of suffering. And where in the painting is the path?
It's the Buddha.
It's the Buddha with the instructions over here, right? Going, hey, I did that. I'm sure that's not what he meant. he's pointing to the goal. Yeah? He's going, go over there. Yeah?
Can I ask you, the light, that would actually be the clear light, or would the light...
You mean the white circle?
The white circle or the moon, it would be just a picture that represents the clear light, the wisdom, the seeing of emptiness, direct perception, or...
No, it's the result. It is just purity. There's nothing staining it. That's all. It's very simple. There is no stain. There's no mental affliction. There's not a single moment of ignorantly liking or disliking.
No.
Yeah.
So I was confusing it because it's light and it's white.
I know, yeah,
and
it's a clear light.
So is it the
I don't
actual state, like the path of seeing, is it the actual seeing of ultimate reality?
No.
Okay.
From everything that I've read about it, it just says that it is nirvana, it is the permanent cessation of mental afflictions.
Absolutely.
When you're talking about seeing emptiness directly or the path of seeing, you've still got to clear up a bunch of stuff.
Right.
Yeah, so
Okay.
it can't be that.
So it's beyond that.
Yeah, it's past that. It's the result.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So we got thank you for asking questions. We got 4 aerial truths locked in the thing. Yeah, we're learning something. My goal, by the way, my 50% is I want to be sure that when you walk out of here, you know something about this stuff. And like I said to you at the last class, you are eons ahead of everybody else that looks at these paintings. You could go to the Rubin Museum and you could look at this and you would be able to explain more about this painting than the average Buddhist, let alone the average human being. Honestly. And it's not because I know something. It's because all these human beings before us, some of them human beings, who spent their lifetime thinking about this stuff, reading about this stuff, and living this stuff until they've felt and experienced all this stuff. And then they were able to teach and share verbally with me and you and a whole bunch of other people that experience, and we can track it back down this lineage of human beings who have taught this stuff. We can track it right back to the Buddha. There's no other tradition that can do that, and that's another thing that blew my mind about coming to see this. There's the words. You could read the words and it won't make too much sense until you've got somebody that says, I did this. There's no point in having words that don't let you shift your experience. I mean, I remember as a kid reading the Bible and going, I don't know what the hell this means. You know, and I go and ask the priest, and he'd make me feel embarrassed for asking questions like, why did God make everybody and then drown the buggers? Why did he do that if he knew everything? Seriously, I was serious. And he couldn't point me to anything in there because nobody had told him why God did it. Why didn't I still do it? No. So, what's the Buddha mean? Again, what's the Buddha mean?
There's a path and a
Yeah.
forbidden path.
And the instructions to the path, we're going to do this on the last class. Yeah, these words are the most important. But the secret here, or the clue that I want to give you, is that once you figure this stuff out, if you really get it, even if you've planted the seed to get it a tiny percent and let that seed grow inside of you, you can get to a point where you'd be able to crush the forces of death like an elephant crushing a tiny house of reeds. How much effort would it take an elephant to destroy a tiny toy house of reeds? How much effort do you think? It's nothing. Yeah? Now, I want to talk about that today because I don't want you to think that this is just some idea, some mystic. I mean, and there's like an embarrassment of talking about let's stop death for real. For me, there is anyway. It's like, I'm a little embarrassed. I haven't seen anybody not die yet, So I'm a little like that, and I'm sure we all are. It's like, are you sure? Because we're so used to going to the slaughter, We're so used to things turning to shit easily. I mean, I haven't seen anybody who's totally pissed out and not gone to shit. So I want to address that as honestly and as openly and as seriously as possible. And I encourage you to challenge your thinking in that way. There's something that you had as a child that gave you hope and the idea that things were possible that got smacked out of you because things turned to crap. Year after year. And the funny thing is that I know it's still alive. Yeah? It's just buried deep with getting smacked over the head with not the right answers all the time. Just put up with it. Put up with suffering. Stop asking questions that you can stop suffering. So I think that's where the embarrassment comes from. We'll talk about that today. These instructions are gold, That's Australian for very good. So we've talked about who he is. Yeah? Mr. Death, Shinge. The realms, congratulations, you said that without moving your lips. Yeah. We'll talk about the realms next class. But in essence, let's just summarize the realms. Yeah. Is it that there is a place that people have built with construction workers? Seriously, yeah? With hells and hell monsters that are building the hell caves. Yeah, and they have a break at lunchtime because they've got to have a break. They drink cod liquids. And their health cells are nice and finished for you for when you are ready, you go to hell. Or the ghost realms, everything gets rubbed out like in Photoshop, so it's about 80% transparency. And then somehow when we go there, we end up being a little transparent. Or the animal realms, which we can see it, yeah. We die, some white stuff comes out of us and we shove it in the dog, remember, through the mouth, yeah? And then that's how you become a dog.
Yes.
It is like that. Damn it. I thought it was the other way around. It had to do with shift of perceptions, yeah? And get used to this. This is an entirely different way of looking at the world. This idea about the realms and the idea of reincarnation. Now, I can't talk to you about reincarnation at length or the mind stream at length. All I can tell you is bits of it. And you have to go and do your own research or go to another class that will really teach you this stuff. And there are people out there that can really teach you this stuff. It can take you time to habituate from the old way of thinking, which is, how the hell did you get here? You're either going to have a few experiences. How does your mind hear? Big bang, we're all electrical signals and nothing else, right? And when your body dies, your consciousness stops. Yeah? Like the light bulb's got electricity running through it. You smash the light bulb, there's no more electricity anymore. It's exactly like that. Right? So you take out the light bulb, the lights go out, electricity disappears. That's not true. Right? Or Mr. God created you, and because he was nasty, he thought you should suffer. Yeah? Or because he was nice, and then he created someone that was nasty, they thought you should suffer. Or something like that. Yeah? He either didn't care that you suffered, or cared and couldn't do anything about it that you suffered, right? But somehow you came out of baby Jesus. And I mean, I don't want to be condescending, but I'm trying to give you my concerns when I was a kid that didn't make sense, you know? So where are you? Where did you come from? If you're like electricity, this stuff that you can't cut and can't smash and can't blow up, which is your consciousness, your sense of being, the thing interpreting the electrical signals. Yes, there are electrical signals. The eardrum is doing this. Your brain is doing sparky stuff. But someone's interpreting that sparky stuff as a pen or as a chewable toy. It's the same sparky stuff. Right? Why? There's this consciousness behind. So the realms over here talks about shifts in consciousness. It's not like, look, who's gotten angry before? Can I ask? Who's gotten angry before? Who's got really angry where you felt you were out of control angry? Yeah? Who's had moments of elation and joy and happiness where you cried from happiness? Right? Shifts in consciousness. What happened the moment after? Who were you the moment before? Yeah? You have this rapid shift in consciousness. I saw you nearly give somebody a shift in consciousness downstairs before. Jamie's like driving nicely in her big, what is it?
Mercedes.
Rolls Royce Mercedes. Yeah. She's like la la la. You know, just turning the corner. This skater is coming along, and like that far he was from having a drastic shift in consciousness. Yeah. From enjoying his world to seeing the concrete in his face. Yeah. That close. And that happens to people all the time.
It was okay.
Yeah. He didn't have a shift in consciousness.
We had a moment.
So shifts in consciousness happen. Death is a shift in consciousness. You see yourself breathing, and then see yourself not breathing. Your awareness of your body. In fact, at the moment of death, they say that it's one of the first times you have this experience where you are not your body, because we think we are. I'm Hector. This thing is Hector. I know. I felt it. Yeah? I still think that. But you investigate it logically, and I can't be this body because I used to be this short little fat kid. So which one was I? And yesterday, I had shaved. Where did the hair come from? But you know what I'm saying? Shifts in consciousness happen all the time. It's a different way of looking at the world. This shifts in consciousness, this perception of ourselves and the world around us is the thing that's making our world. And one moment you see this as an arm, and then one moment you feel, you have a sense of consciousness that you can move those fingers. And then at another moment, you can't move them. And you can't move your feet. And you can't get air out of your lungs. And you feel the coldness move up. And your consciousness shifts. And then you go into this thing called the bardo, which we haven't yet talked about enough, you know, according to this way of thinking. But how can you smash the light bulb and extinguish all of electricity? You know, when the light bulb wears out, the light bulb wears out. You can't kill electricity. You can't touch it, you can't feel it, you can't blow it up. So you've got to think about it those ways. And if you think about it those ways, this thing makes sense and it gives you a bigger answer. And then at some moment, that consciousness, uneasy and unaware and frightened and elated, I mean, because all these karmas are ripening, all of a sudden has an urge. And that urge lets it chew something and drop saliva when they see a chewable toy, or say, I can write a story with that pen. That shift of consciousness. That quickly. And then if you know that you can have those two experiences in the one place, the dog or the animal and the human, then it's not impossible that there are other experiences going on. You'd be stupid to say that this is it. What I'm seeing in my spectrum is all that exists. We know the range of light that we can see is limited. We know the range of hearing that we hear is limited. Just our apparatus is limited, let alone our view of it. The realms. We'll talk more about it. The three poisons. I'm going to talk a lot about the three poisons today because I don't want to leave you with the idea that all desire is wrong. Because some people go out of a Buddhist class and think they don't have to like anything. Yeah, that's not true. So there's liking things ignorantly, disliking things ignorantly, and ignorance itself. Yeah? We'll talk about them a lot today. The 12 links of dependent origination. Someone give me some of the links. Sorry?
Aging.
So which one's aging and death?
Last one.
Number 12, right? Yep, between 11 o'clock and 12 o'clock. Which one is, yeah, we can't turn that down a little. Yes? Yeah, this one's fine. Yeah. Thank you. Can you see that better? Is that better for you guys? Yeah. What's link number 1? Ignorance? Is it that? Hi, Michelle. That's Michelle. Why is it ignorance? What's the picture of?
A blind old lady. A blind old lady.
Blind old lady. Why? Blind. Blind how?
She doesn't know where things are coming from.
Yeah. Well, she doesn't know where things are coming from, so she's wandering the world, unaware of her terrain. So she's blind, and in the original sutra or original painting, she was dressed in white. She was, what was it?
Leopard.
She was widowed, and nobody would touch her. So she was. So not only is she wandering the world alone, she can't see the world. Yeah. So she's trying to maneuver. So it's saying that we don't know something. In fact, we misknow something. That's what ignorance means here. It's the same as the pig, yeah? But in this case, it's the causal link, cause and effect, that makes us do the wrong action. The 12 links of dependent origination. Does anybody remember ouch? The 3 ways of thinking of dependent origination. Yep. So why are we talking about this? Why are we talking about dependent origination? Anyone?
It perceived the direct perception of emptiness.
We want to see what the hell all this is for, because the way we've been taught this is where this comes from. Yeah, this world around us, every experience that we are experiencing, everything that we are experiencing, where the hell does it come from? Because all the other explanations have bits missing of the spectrum. Where is this spectrum that we're experiencing? How does it work? Because the way we think it works doesn't always work, which means it doesn't work. Going to the job to get money all the time will not guarantee money. Because some people don't go to the job and get money. And some people go to the job and don't get money. Being kind to your partner all the time, loving them in the ignorant way, thinking, oh, if I give you something, you're going to give me something. If I give you something, you're going to give me something back. Doesn't always work. Relationships break up. The way we think we are going around the world making things happen isn't in fact how things happen. That's what dependent origination means. We figured out laws of probability. You know, we say people die of cancer because a cancer cell over here does X, Y, and Z. Science has told us that Large Hadron Collider, looking out at all the stuff and measuring it and pointing to it and cause and effect out there. Yeah, it's missing the component of the viewer, of the experiencer. Not every cancer cell kills people. And then you can go, oh, well, that's because that person ate more cigarettes. You know? And then you go, well, that person had more cigarettes. Why didn't they get it? Oh, well, because they were healthier before that. And at some point, we stop asking why. And we just go, okay, that's got no cause. Too complex. Yeah, why did that guy nearly get run over? And not the other guy? what are you doing? You know, it's a different way of investigating. We think we've got 90%, 80% of things figured out, and we do. We can see cause and effect in a nominal way. But some things don't work the way we think they work, which means the way we think they work don't work. Dependent origination is looking at how does it work without exceptions. Yeah? What are the things that these things depend on to come about? And so we've got a bunch of beings thinking about this for 2,500 years, and they come out with 3 different ways. The Buddha taught these 3 different ways of looking at things for people of different capacity, because some people freak out if you tell them the ultimate way, and they can function for a while in this medium way. Yeah? So the first way was things depend on their parts. Yeah?
Or was it houses?
Courses, thank you. You want to sit here? That's Michelle. Things depend on their causes, meaning this was caused, yeah? Produced by a factory. Yeah? It's got stuff in it, which is plastic and machinery and design and people making it. That's how it came about. Yeah? A tree came from a seed. Right? And that explained most of things. You could explain most of the things that way. There's primary causes, secondary causes, etc. There's a whole field of study. You can go to monastic universities to study for 2 years on that stuff, dependent origination. Right? We're doing 10 minutes. And then this didn't explain everything in the spectrum, right? In the spectrum that we can see this much. We think this is how it operates. The spectrum says, no, there's more. This answer, things have causes, things are caused, can answer most of the spectrum, but there are a few things on the spectrum which it did not answer, like experiences of emptiness, the idea of space, just concepts. It didn't address concepts. There are some things that are not caused, yeah? And then you have to understand causing means, and it's changing things, not changing things, etc. We won't go into that. So a higher explanation of this is that things are dependent on their parts. They appear because they depend on their parts. That explains more things. Yeah, so there's the top part and the bottom part, and you can say that about space and everything. By the way, both of these ways of viewing the world help you. Yeah? These first two help you for a limited time. So you have a breakup with your partner, or you have a fight with your family, or you get angry at the person that irritates you the most, and you can say, well, things are caused. They probably are doing that because of something. Yeah? And that holds you down from reacting and engaging them with anger and the rest. So it can calm you down for a little bit and go, okay, there's probably a reason for it, there's a cause for it. The other one helps you if you're more of an intellectual person, you know. Things have their parts. Well, there's this part of the forward part of the back part. There's all this, you know, etc. It doesn't help you stop things permanently or long term. You know, I think I was giving an example of your legs because you were sitting over there. You know, it's, well, why do I like those legs more than those legs? You know, if they got the parts, then I had to say, well, what are the parts of the legs? And you can break the parts down all the way down to the atoms, right? So what are those atoms better than those atoms? How does that help me? You know, it doesn't really help me. It can help me in an intellectual debate about space and time and the rest. But trying to see things with these two, at least engage your mind before you start getting angry at things. What's the highest view of dependent origination? Sorry?
Label.
Things depend on your
Perception.
projections, yeah, or perceptions. What does that mean? Someone? It's your precondition, yeah, your perceptions are forced on you, so you have a precondition to see things a certain way. The human realm must see this as a pen, even Eskimos after we teach them. Yeah? They experience this as a pen. You can never teach a dog or a whale or a puma how to do this. They'll bite your head off. Yeah? But it's a pen, let me show you. Yeah?
We're forced to see it.
Yeah, they are forced to see it, and we don't know why. Right? We don't understand why. They just must experience it the way they are experiencing it. But it's the same object. Surely it's a pen, because we see it as a pen. Actually, if you want to be equal rights, animal rights and human rights, then you've got to give the animal rights the same credence that you give the human rights. For them, it's a chewable toy. So then we should say it's a chewable toy, surely, if, equal rights. Why impose our view on them? You can't have two things coming out of this thing. From it. Now, it can't be this to that thing and that to that thing. It can never be that. In fact, if it had a nature from its own side, everything must experience it the same. Yeah? To the color. If it was penness from its own side, everything that saw this must say it's a pen. Let's do it with my friend Gary, not the guy that was at the back, but remember my ex-boss Gary I told you about? Yeah? He was a bastard from his own side. His wife loved him. How could he? Not only that, his wife loved him when he was ratting me out. So at the same time of yelling and screaming, there was someone having joy of the sounds and the movement. He himself was having joy. How can that thing making a noise, yelling and screaming and being angry towards me be both happy and sad, lovely and horrible? The same movement, the same thing. He can't. Right? Silence. Dependent origination. It's saying that experience is forced on me because of something. Habituation, paskarma, the rest. It's forced on the animals to see the world, the same world we see, in a completely different way than we do. No amount of bashing it into their dog's head will let them see it's a pen. They cannot see it, but it is a pen. Not for the dog, so it can't be a pen. It can be both, but not from its own side. In fact, it is both, but it depends on the perceiver. For the dog, it's a chewable toy. For the human, it's a pen. You cannot not think it as a pen.
Why impose the pen on something?
Well, I'm holding something, right? So that something, if it's emanating penness, is what I'm saying. If it's got the power of pen, yeah, or the angry boss has got the power of angry boss, then at that very moment that thinks anything, an ant crawling on him, an elephant watching him from the corner, a dog looking up at him, his wife, his lovely children, him himself and me, all the viewers on that, if the quality of anger was coming from him, if the quality of pen was coming from this object, then everything experiencing it must experience it that way. If it had atoms emanating out that caused you to see this as an angry boss or as a pen, yeah, then if it was doing that, then everything that was receiving that signal must see it, because it's producing penness, it's producing angry boss. The fact that it's not, like you said, it can be both. Yeah, it can be a pen and a chewable toy. But if that's the case, then that quality of penness and that quality of chewable toy and that quality of boss, angry boss or good person can only be in where? The person perceiving it, the beings perceiving it, the ant crawling on this, the dog looking at it, that's the only place it can reside. The quality of the nature of this thing as you are seeing it. But we are sure it's a pen, you know? That thinking, that experience that it's only a pen is in fact ignorance in this system. Yeah? Not knowing that it's not a pen from its own side is ignorance. We'll get into it. Yeah? So dependent origination is important. Why? So you now have this field of study called dependent origination, which will help you unlock every undesirable thing in your life and open your world up to the most precious and amazing, elating feelings you could ever have in your life. If you understand dependent origination and how things come to be in the entire spectrum of existence, you've just opened that door of yours to the most incredible experience, jumping out of the wheel, no longer caught in this cycle of suffering. If you understand that, you've opened that up. Why? Because dependent origination, understanding the spectrum intellectually, leads to the direct perception of the spectrum. So understanding how the spectrum works in this way, the entire spectrum, why do things come from my perceptions? How is that so? Which then leads us to, how does karma work, right? Understanding that intellectually, and it's like any study, will get you so habituated to seeing the world in that way that at some point you're going to jump out of this narrow view of looking at the world, the way we are forced to see it because of our senses and our projections, and have a 20-minute glimpse at the entirety of existence, ultimate reality. You have this, if you understand intellectually the spectrum, dependent origination, where things come from, why are they forced upon us through our perceptions? If you get some study into you that lets you get some tap roots in your knowledge about that, and you habituate that in your mind enough, you'll start seeing that more and more in your world until it becomes almost second nature. And then at some point, if you've practiced meditation, which is the only point of bloody sitting down and not moving, who'd want to do that? Oh, great, I've got all these movable parts, I'm going to sit down and not do it. It doesn't make sense. There's a point to doing it. Really, there is. It's to withdraw all the bombard. I mean, the mind wants to jump from sense to sense, get occupied, because it doesn't want to figure out that it's not what it thinks it is. You know, it's busy distracting us in the supermarket of life, you know. So the point of meditation is to train that monkey mind of yours to say, for just a few hours, every now and then, train your mind to be still, to find out where it is, ignore the senses. So when you do have that intellectual understanding of dependent origination, you can sit down like King Udrayana did and be jolted out of your limited field, have a 20-minute or so experience here, not here. Like, you know how this thing works. You know what lies behind every atom in the universe. Every negative experience you've ever had, you'll see every future experience you'll ever have, allegedly. This is the point of Buddhism. But you can't do that if you haven't trained yourself to meditate. And you can't do that if you don't have some intellectual understanding of dependent origination. It's not a walk in the park, right? It's not like you sit in a lecture once and go, I can remove every single suffering in my entire life, get to a point of ultimate being, nirvana or Buddhahood, because I sat at a lecture for 20 minutes. It's not like that. You know, it requires effort, but the effort becomes sweet and beautiful once you get evidence along the way that this stuff actually is working. I'm not as angry as I used to be. Things don't affect me like they used to be. Wow, that used to hurt me a lot. Now I feel a different feeling about it. I can use that to help someone else. Wow, I feel joy about the same stuff that I used to hate. Once you get those little bits of movement inside of you, then this is not effort anymore. This is you creating a life, rather than being dragged through the river of existence, bumping against the other dead fish down the road, heading towards Mr. Death. Am I rambling today?
No.
I can be if you want. Maripa, ignorance. Blind woman, thank you very much. Do we remember, so Maripa, not knowing how things work, because we have this idea of the view, we act towards things in a certain way. ignorantly. Yeah? So we've got ignorance in our mind. Do you remember Maitreya's 5 or 6? Do you remember? We did them last week. Yeah?
Yeah, we're
He
born
said-
with ignorant.
We're born before ignorance, we're born with the propensity for ignorance. He said with a bakchak, yeah? With a seed for ignorance. It's been there with time without beginning. This habituation has been there for a long time. Yeah? And that leads us to ignorance. Because of ignorance, and then he's got a couple of steps between ignorance and planting karma. The second one is duchekile, which is fresh karma or planting fresh karma. It's a potter, a dude making pots. This is
Dushekile, wouldn't that be ignorant karma?
no, dushekile is immature karma or fresh
Immature.
karma. Yeah, yeah. Karma in this wheel, all of it is ignorant. Okay, all of it in this wheel, because he's grasping it, is ignorance. He's making pots 65 times a finger snap of every response you have to every stimuli in your entire life. Your mind is recording these pots, making these impressions in your mind. And if you imagine your mind as this see-through, clear, jelly-like thing that you look through, then every time you have a response to the world, you're making an imprint which is bulging out and making the view slightly different, coloring that side of the view or this side of the view. Karma, 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 65 times every finger snap. And then as you look through that lens, things appear to you in a certain way. You think that's the way they are. But in fact, you've made that through your response. Yeah? So because we don't know how things work, because I didn't know initially when Gary, my ex-business partner, I didn't know why he was angry. I had ignorant view about why he was angry. He's yelling at me because he wants me to cheat someone else. What a bastard. Yeah? So I'm yelling back. That's the natural response. That's what it is to be in the human realm. We have this tendency, what we think is natural, is if someone hits us, we gotta hit them back. That's our impulse. It's in the animal realm as well. If I yell at you, you gotta yell back at me. It's like, don't tell me what to do. Don't tell me what to do. I'll tell you what to do. We have this automatic response. Ignorance. Yeah? And so we think that's the spectrum. Figuring out that that's not the spectrum, dependent origination, where the hell did he come from? He's dependent on my perception. I am perceiving him as angry, not his wife, not himself. He's perceiving himself as righteous. The lecturer, the knowledgeable businessman. I'm the idiot for him. Yeah? So he's wise, his wife thinks he's lovely, and I think he's an idiot. Which one is he? From his own side, none of them. From the perceiver's side, dependent on their perception, all of them. Can one thing be three things at once? Not from its own side, yes, from the perceiver's side. Yeah? So then, if it's not in him, the nature to be righteous, lovely, or a pain in the butt, then that pain in the butt belonged to me. Yeah? I could not see him any other way at that moment. I really couldn't. And some Buddhist thinking in the West says, oh, you've got to be zen about it, dude. Just cope. He's going, you're stupid, Hector! That's not affecting me. Be calm about it. You're stupid! Be calm about it. You're stupid! Be calm about it. At some point you're going to break. You can't just pretend it's not happening. That's retarded. Yeah, at some point it's going to break. So dependent on your projections is a secret that lets you see, you're forced to see him that way. That's got to have a cause. Why? Karma. Yeah? Not only that, karma is what I plant with every single response to him. Every thought, every word, and every action. All those three things are karma. So I might be zenned out. Yeah? I might be going, okay, I'm going to practice Buddhism because I'm just learning it. So, you're stupid, Hector! Dick, you know? That's violence. You know, I'm having violence. I might not look like I'm being violent. Yeah, but I'm having a violent moment against him. So I've just put an imprint in my mind about of violence towards the yelling boss. What does that guarantee? Every action has an equal and opposite reaction. We believe in this in the West. If I've just put in an action of violence towards someone mentally, what have I guaranteed?
More violence.
More of that coming my way. Yeah, in fact, a sneaky one more of that. Next time I'm with a business associate, and this has happened, I mean, and you verify it for yourself, but next time I'm with a business associate who I'm getting a little agitated with because he's not getting my point, and he's looking all zenned out, what am I thinking?
He thinks I'm a dick.
He thinks I'm a dick. Yeah, even if he's like listening to me, he's like, and he might be listening to me completely right. And yet my mind will force me to see him as suspicious. Why is he behaving so cool, calm and collected? He thinks I'm a dick. Seriously. My dad was brilliant at this. You know, my dad, I'm going to keep talking about my dad. He was such an amazing dude. I mean, he really spent his whole life suffering to such a degree, creating such obvious... Sometimes I thought he was doing it on purpose to teach us not to be like that. One of his things was, he would stay at any of us, at our houses, my siblings or me or whatever, and he loved going through your drawers. I mean, he just loved, I mean, you could hide things on your drawers and then you'll talk to some other sibling about, did you know that your brother's into marijuana? Or whatever, you know, like, but he would claim that he never was, yeah? And he says, you know, I'm open with everybody and whatever. You know, no one ever caught him looking and sneaking, but we all knew he did because we all planted things in the drawer that would fall out when he opened the drawer. You know, it was so obvious. Whenever he stayed with us, he had 2 suitcases. That's all he had. He just traveled the world with a couple of suitcases, and he had 3 padlocks on them. I mean, I didn't care what was in his stuff. No one does. No one did. But his mind was so habituated to sneaking around and snooping that anybody looked at his suitcases, we were trying to get into his suitcases, his precious suitcases. You know, I got to open them when he died last year.
What was in him?
Garbage. I mean, like, he had pictures of me and like as a kid and, you know, love notes. I mean, garbage. I mean, you know, his stuff. Stuff. I mean, you know, no one's looking at your stuff. It's just your private moments, you know. The thief thinks that someone's going to steal from him. That's it. It's that simple, this kind of thing. Yeah, but they're very complex if you get into the nitty-gritty of it. I'm really taking my time. So here are the things that keep us locked in according to my trades. We'll go really quickly. These mental seeds, yeah, that are forced on us from habit from a long time, of ignorance, perpetuate this ignorance, of not looking at the entire spectrum, just looking at the world the way we see it. Then we have a tendency to see things the wrong way, and because of that we tend to like and dislike them the wrong way, which makes us act towards them the wrong way, which keeps the cycle happening. The boss will yell at me. Do you see how with Gary, even if I stayed zenned out, that karma would perpetuate more sneaky?
Mm-hmm. So you have to stop.
You have to actually and we're going to talk about it today on how to stop it properly, yeah? Because it's a misperception that you've got to stop liking and disliking things. That's not true. The Dalai Lama likes stuff. Buddha likes people getting realized. Enlightened beings like stuff. Why would they be in a blissed out paradise? I mean, they're not. You know, they're around nice stuff. They like things. They just don't like things with ignorance. So the secret is in that. We're going to talk about that in a second. So the third link was consciousness, raw awareness, the stuff that is perceiving everything that's dependent. Why is it a monkey in a house of 6 windows? The 6 windows are your senses. The thing inside your head, this is the way we think about it in the West. In the East, it's in your heart. Your mind is the monkey locked in to this thing. Doesn't want to settle down. In fact, the other reason, I didn't tell you last time, the other reason why it's this monkey jumping around inside the house, do you think you can have a smelling sensation and a sight sensation and an auditory sensation at the very same milli-moment?
No.
You can't. Your consciousness cannot be at those three places at once. Your point of consciousness is jumping like a monkey in the house, going, shit, I'm feeling something, I'm thinking something, I'm feeling That's what it is. Yeah? Your mind is locked in there, guys and girls, trying to interpret this data. And as soon as you sit down to meditate, you go, shut down that window of movement and sensation, shut down that window of sight, shut down the window of hearing, shut down the window of taste. Monkey goes crazy. It doesn't know what to do. You're trying to find out where monkey is. He hates it. She hates it. Monkey is nothing, from its point of view, is nothing but all the things it's experiencing. If you take away the things it's experiencing, you're trying to get to that monkey, that mind, that consciousness. Try to find it. I mean, not now. Try to find it. Crazy monkey trying to figure it all out, locked in your mind. In one way of explaining the wheel, this is the moment of conception, yeah? Raw consciousness. Then what happens? We have name and form. Why is it a couple of dudes in a boat going from shore to shore?
Going from one life to the other.
Excellent. Yeah, in one explanation, it's your mind and your body going from one life to another. Your mind is the dudes in the boat. Your boat is the other four heaps. Yeah, going from one shore. It's your from birth to death. That's it, and it's implying something. Oh, this one has oars. You can't maneuver the big river too much. Yeah, you can't maneuver the big river too much. You're stuck in this body, this boat. Your monkey mind in it, you're heading towards the other shore. The electricity, once the light bulb goes out, the boat's done. You're on the other shore. They put in a new light bulb. It's a different light bulb. Same electricity. Yeah? A different light bulb. You get another boat for your monkey to go riding on. Now the experience you will be having of the river and of the boat will follow close behind, your karmas will follow close behind, as certain as your shadow, of every action and thought you had towards the angry Gary. So then we got Techetrum, which is the sense powers. So if we're thinking of this explanation as the fetus gestating, you've got life one, which is consciousness. So you're propelled into this life with ignorance. You have raw awareness and consciousness. Yeah? It's got karmas, it's collected. It enters this life form, yeah, which is the boat and so on. And then at some point, it develops sense powers, which are the physical cells at the back of your eye, in your ear, your taste buds. The fetus is growing the ability to have these sensations, yeah? So it's the physical matter. Why 6 windows in an empty house?
No monkey.
No monkey. Well, nothing's happening there just yet. The monkey is in the other place, yeah?
The body's forming,
Yeah.
growing.
And then you have contact. It's a dude and a dudess. They should do a gay one, I think. No. You have contact, a guy and a girl kissing. Yeah, I said that for funny effect. Yeah. This is all very serious. Well, it is serious, but you also, I think you should laugh. Contact. Contact of what?
Just using the senses, being alive.
Using the senses is good. Being alive is good. So you have a rose, or you have an angry Gary, yeah? So you now have an object to interact with. Your consciousness yeah, has a body, the boat. The monkey has a boat, yeah. The boat now has the sense powers. It can actually perceive stuff. So now you introduce an object, and the consciousness in this body is actually getting contact with an outside thing, yeah, with a thing. It's having these three things come together: your consciousness with your body and the sense powers, yeah, your body in this form, yeah, and you're about to feel something. Because these three things come together, you're about to have a feeling about it, right? So one thing causes the next. So because this thing appeared in front of you, and you've got all the apparatus, you've got all the equipment, you're about to have a feeling. And because you're rooted in this way of looking at the world, what do you think the feeling is going to be?
Ignorant.
Ignorant. It's going to be something, but it's not going to be the entire spectrum. It'll be based on this, yeah? So I'm going to think Gary's a pain in the butt. My feeling is likely to be negative. And I'm going to have an impulse to be negative towards him. I'm going to like things and dislike things, just like my Tracer, yeah? Or be neutral about things. Which leads us to the thing we'll talk about after the break. The next two links, which is all I'm going to talk about, are nasty, and they're connected to the core, the center of the wheel, yeah? But let's have a 10-minute break and then come back. Any questions? Sorry? No? Thank you for coming. Have a good weekend. See you in 10 minutes. It's warm, right? Or is it me?
Yeah. Okay, then that's
Is it independently warm?
So what should I do? Stop broadcast. Stop broadcast first.
They stop to record first.